Hi, this is Bill Stevenson from Descendents, and you're listening to The Vinyl Guide.
This episode is brought to you by Seams Easy record sleeve repair strips. If you collect used records, you need some Seams Easy strips handy for record sleeve repair. They're super easy to use and repair those seam splits to make them like new. Ask your record store for Seams Easy or go to seamseasy.com. Seams Easy with 2 Z's. seamseasy.com. And now, on with the show. Hey everyone, it's Nate. Welcome to episode 416 of The Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. And this week from the Descendents, we've got Bill Stevenson, or Billy Stevenson, depending on how long you've known him. This week we talked to Bill about a myriad of topics, including Milo's recent heart attack, the Ninth and Walnut album, the legendary cover of Milo Goes to College, the new Descendents recordings, and do we have any new music on the horizon from them? Billy also talks about working with Black Flag and various alumni over the years, and this interview today is a terrific companion piece to the first interview we had with Billy, his first time on the show back in 2018, episode 118, if you want to look it up. Billy and I spoke all about the rare records of Descendents and Billy's career, so go check that one out if you haven't already. Also of note, Descendents are coming down to Australia this month, and holy moly, we're all excited. Auckland, Brisbane, Wollongong, Sydney, Adelaide, Melbourne, Torquay. Several shows are already sold out, but check sbmpresents.com and see if you could score a ticket to a Descendents gig near you. And by the way, I gotta let you know we've got an extended version of this interview, about 30% more Billy, more chit-chat, way more of this interview, only available to show patrons at patreon.com/vinylguide. It's a much extended episode, more Black Flag talk, hobbies and collectibles. We got a whole major extra part of the interview, like 30% more, only available to show patrons at patreon.com/vinylguide. Of course, it's always ad-free and high resolution, only for our supporters, because you guys help keep this podcast going. So again, that's patreon.com/vinylguide. More Billy, more fidelity, less commercials. Go there now. And finally, if you're new to the Vinyl Guide podcast, welcome to the show. Please follow us in your podcast app of choice. We've got hundreds of other episodes available for free anytime. No paywall, just lots of great interviews such as Peter Hook sharing memories and talking about the rare records of Joy Division. That's episode 412 of the Vinyl Guide. Bear McKinnon and Danny Heifetz talking Mr. Bungle and more, episode 402. Comedian, actor, and podcast legend Mark Maron, episode 400. Jay Mascis of Dinosaur Jr., episode 393. Ross Knight of the Mighty Cosmic Psychos, episode 385. Jerry A. Lang of Poison Idea, episode 372. Brian Baker of Minor Threat, Bad Religion, and more, episode 351. Some guy named Milo Ackerman of Descendents, episode 291. And many, 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 many more. Follow us in your favorite podcast app. Scroll, download, listen, and enjoy. And with that, let's get on the horn with Bill Stevenson and talk Descendents and a whole lot more.
All right, did I do it?
Mr. Stevenson.
Did I do it?
I think you done did it. Good to see you, man.
Hey, I got a question.
Sure.
I've done a thing called the Vinyl Guide before.
Yes.
Did I do it with you?
Yes, that's correct.
And was it like not that long ago?
It was for the Hyperspasium album.
It was not.
It was.
Was it?
It was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And that actually has been a very popular interview. And we went through quite a few of the Descendants and your vinyl history, but there's still plenty more, which I'd love to get into. And you're coming down to Australia. I know I don't sound Australian, but I am.
This thing has nothing to do with like the Australian tour. Is that true?
No, it does. It does.
Oh, it does. Oh,
yeah. Because I'm here in Australia. A lot of our listeners
because you're not saying "g'day, mate" and stuff.
Oi,
so
hey,
what's going on here?
Get the bloody L down here. No,
I guess you could put it on a little bit for me. Yeah. No. Okay, now I got it. I understand what's going on now.
I was raised in California, so when I moved here, I've conformed as much as I can. I spell color with a U. I've done what I can, but my accent is still
that's I think a pretty big gesture, spelling color with the U.
So you excited about coming down to Australia? It's been a while.
We really are, and we have particular reason to be, because we've had a rough 3 months. We had a kind of like, well, I feel like we've never had any bad luck. It's always just Descendents. It's always just been a slow trudge to get where we're going. Slow trudge, no hit songs. Nobody's ever like stole all our equipment. We've never had any swings, really, just a slow grind the whole time. But we had all this bad luck. We spent 26 hours in Denver airport and failed to make it to our own show in Quebec. And it was one of these big festivals where they pay you like $1 zillion to play. So it was a big, big loss, Plus, we just felt like chumps because we always go to the show, the day before and get to the town and spend the night, so that we have an extra day of buffer. But we spent 26 hours in Denver airport and we couldn't get there.
What was it? Was it weather? Was it weather?
Yeah, none of the planes. Those boards where they put all the flights that says, departures, arrivals, and it lists all the flights kind of like chronologically and by airline and stuff, and alphabetically by city, however the hell they do it. And it was like all those boards just were all red, so it was like for every 15 one that said canceled, there would be 2 that said delayed, and then maybe 1 that would say on time. I don't know what that one guy was doing right, but he was doing something right. But yeah, so then 3 days later, we flew to Europe. We landed in Barcelona. So what does Milo do? He decides he's going to have a heart attack. I told him we got a whole tour going here and you could do that on a different day. You don't have to do that now. But he did. So we had to cancel that tour. Milo had to go in the hospital for 4 or 5 days. But now we're back at it. And so we're going to be very happy to we're going to play a week in Japan and then 2 weeks in Australia and New Zealand. It's going to be fun. We're going to have fun. We're having good fun. And Milo says it's so much easier now that they repaired he had one blockage in an artery. And it's weird. When he got home and he started practicing again, he called me and he's like, dude, it's so easy. It's so much easier to sing now. I wish I would have known that thing was clogged. I would have had him unclog it 3 years ago or whatever.
I wish I had a heart attack a long time ago. It would have been so much better.
Yeah. So in a way it was a very expensive stroke of good luck. Yeah.
So what was your experience like that? Did he have the heart attack in the hotel room and you just got a phone call with it? Like what was your
well, it started was when we all landed and got to the hotel, the evening before. And he comes up to me and hits me up for a low dose aspirin, which, I take one of those every day. I think Carl does too, because, I have never had a heart attack, but I'm a guy that's had a whole history of cardiopulmonary problems and stuff. So I gave him a low dose aspirin. And then like 4 hours later, he hits Carl up for one of his nitro pills, the nitroglycerin, that's what you take if you're having an angina. So then like 3 hours later than that, we take him to our tour manager, takes him to the hospital. Sure enough, he's having a heart attack.
I've seen the videos of him since. He seems to be dropping some weight. He's like half the man he used to be. He's looking really
he's
good.
Doing great. It's funny. It kind of had an impact on all of us in different ways. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're rethinking.
He's solid. We played in Seattle a couple weeks ago, and because I wanted to see if he was bullshitting me about how it's easier to sing now. So I cranked him up louder in my in-ear monitors so I could really hear how well he was doing. He was killing it. Yeah. And his pitch too, Milo's always had very, very good pitch. Milo has always had better pitch than, most of the people that I work with, say, if I'm producing records or whatever. But his pitch it seems like even a little better than it always has been.
Wow.
He's really solid.
Oh, wow. Well, look, the Descendents Australia tour was announced prior to Milo's cardiac event, and we were very excited about it. Obviously, when we heard the news, we were worried about Milo, concerned, hoping that he was going to be all right. And we thought for sure, Australia is going to be canceled. We're delighted that you guys are able to pull it through.
Yeah, we were only down for 5 weeks.
That's incredible. That's amazing.
Yeah, we got lucky.
So Milo's doing good. The drum parts of Descendents are always so, to me, they seem like they require a high level of physicality. Are there any Descendents tracks that you're struggling to play these days?
Oh, well, okay. Okay. So I'm 60. Okay. So it's a lot of the tempos that we decided we were good at playing at, or the tempos that we decided were fun for us, and the parts we decided were fun for us. And look how much ass I'm kicking. Those boundaries, those premises were established when we were basically 16, 17. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's just the normal part of that, keeping those tempos going. That just comes down to like, I really, really have to make sure I get a lot of good, strong coffee in me. And I got to really, do my stretches I've been doing my stretches though, since I was 18 years old. I do my stretches before every show, but like, it used to be, I could get up there and but now it's like, I got to really do everything right, get enough sleep, do my stretches. I do a lot of exercising during the week. I'm currently kind of put myself on a little bit of a weight loss program. So that's going okay. Because I did reach a kind of an apex about 6 months ago. And now I've come down from that about 25 pounds. So like, wow. I'm doing everything I can. And, but it's really those ones where I'm going like, for like a whole verse, your mileages, or your like the little break on Suburban Home. That stuff. Those are just, they've always been difficult. And yeah, they are still difficult.
Okay. Things like coffee mug, that's that sort of speed.
No, because that's not technical. You just kind of get that beat going and go with it. I mean, that's those songs, when we write that kind of song, like that's just us kind of imitating Zeke, because we love Zeke so much. That's not very hard to do.
Okay, but your health is good. I know.
In my van, that's got some tricky stuff in it as a drummer. Mm-hmm. In my van, a little bit of proggy things, Latin-y, proggy things going on there.
Now, when we talked to Milo, when Ninth and Walnut came out, he alluded to a whole other Descendents album that was recorded largely complete.
We have about 20-ish songs already recorded, but we're kind of waiting for more. It's typical, which is that I'm holding up the program because I always take too long for my songs.
Okay. Lyric wise, is that kind of what you're on?
No, I make too much of a big deal out of it, and then I overthink it, and it just takes me forever. Every record, I'm always the last guy to bring my songs in, and then it's I hate it, but that's cool. What am I going to do?
So you've got them recorded?
Well, Carl's a little behind too. He's got a few new ones, but so it's like Stefan and Milo wrote 1 million. Stefan wrote 1 million, which is a new thing. But I thought it would probably make sense to wait for Carl and I to get some in there, because I think if we put a whole record out that didn't have any songs by me or Carl, I think people might wonder, what that was all about.
Right. But you have 20 or so, you say, already recorded, but those aren't so you'll come in with another.
Not one of them's mine, not one of them.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm the guy I'm not exaggerating. I have 50 of like what you would come to think of as a really good Bill chorus, like Clean Sheets, Without Love, Silly Girl, those kinds of things, I have 50 of those choruses, and they sit because I get those choruses. I get them as a whole picture, the chords, the bass, the drums, the lyrics, the melody. It all just comes to me all at once. But then if the verse doesn't come to me too, well, then there I sit, because I'm not what you'd call a song craftsman. I have to get these things come to me. It sounds corny to say it, but they just come into my brain, and then there they are. And if I don't get the verse by that kind of inspiration, then I may never do it. Like, okay, Without Love's the best example, because I wrote the chorus of that song, and that intro, the intro guitar and the chorus, I wrote that in probably 2006, 2007. And then I just sat on it. And I sat on it and I sat on it. And one day I emailed it to Stefan and I go, I think this one's too good to sit on. So why don't you see if you can help me get this finished? And so he sent me back chord progression for a verse and a pre-chorus and a bridge, which is what it needed. And then I wrote, and he even had some melodic ideas for the vocal. So then I was able to write lyrics for that and finish that song. But otherwise it would have sat. And that's how so many of that they just sit there, because I'm waiting for that verse to be as truly born as the chorus was. Or sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes it's a verse, but it's a true born thing. It's authentic. It's genuine. And it wasn't something that was labored over. But I'm not song craftsman. I can't pick up the guitar and go, oh, A flat to C sharp minor. Ooh, that sounds good. I can't do that. I don't, it's not.
You got to wait for the universe to provide you the path.
I mean, that's just, I know it sounds so stupid.
No, it's fine.
To say it out loud is lame, but that's how all my songs have always come to me.
Well, look, I think one of the reasons why I think the longevity of Descendents and why so many people love the work is because there is that level of quality that's put into it. So, maybe waiting until it's the right moment is part of
now
that.
I have the
sauce.
most. I mean, I have the most now. I have 50 for sure, 50 choruses.
50 hooks. You just don't know how to connect them.
Yeah, but they're not. I mean, sometimes I'll try to see if any of them are related to each other. But even that, that's suspicious to me, because I really, I hate an imposter. Or I hate to be derivative too. I hate to why don't I do something that sounds like blah, blah, blah. I hate all that stuff. Yeah. It makes it kind of hard to get stuff done though.
Do we have, is there any shot of hearing any of the new songs, Milo's or Stevens or whoever's on the Australian tour?
I don't know. I'll have to ask the guys if they want to play any of them.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to hear one.
Yeah, that's what people say till then you play a couple new ones live and everyone goes like this.
I know, buy a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So now last time we talked, Billy, we talked about this Ride the Wild single, right? The original Ride the Wild from 1980, I think, Orca Records.
We'll be back after these messages.
There's no doubt about it. Record collecting has become a serious hobby and even an investment for many around the world. So record collectors have to ask themselves how best to protect their prized records and confidently buy and sell with others. There is an option to consider: vintage media grading at vmgvinyl.com. vmgvinyl.com will professionally grade your record and encase it in protective plastic, so your record will retain its value for decades to come. This is the same approach that comic book and sports card collectors have done for years. Now, I know many record collectors will be horrified with the thought of having their records graded and encased in plastic. And for the majority of records, this isn't necessary. But if you have top dollar records that you need to protect, maybe a super rare album that's languishing on the shelf, a one-off misprint, or a special LP that you want to protect, look up vmgvinyl.com, Vintage Media Grading, and see if this service is right for you. That's Vintage Media Grading, vmgvinyl.com.
Hey everyone, I'm here to talk to you about Seems Easy record sleeve repair strips. Ever find a record in a used bin where the vinyl is gorgeous, but the sleeve has this ugly split and is even falling completely apart? Well, that's okay. Grab it anyway, because with Seems Easy record sleeve repair strips, you can fix that right up. Seems Easy record repair strips repair seam splits from the inside, so it doesn't affect the appearance of a record sleeve, but it does make it functional again. With Seems Easy, records can now slide in and out like new. Turn a $5 record into a $25 functioning collectible. Just ask your local record shop for Seems Easy strips, and if they're not in stock, go to seamseasy.com. That's Seems Easy with 2 Z's. Seems Easy record sleeve repair strips. Seems easy because it is. Oh, and hey, record nerds, don't forget to clean your records with the very best and safest record cleaner, the Groove Washer. Make your records look and sound their very best and store them with confidence using the new Groove Washer Groove Guard record sleeves. You gotta try this out. It makes a huge difference to the quality of your vinyl experience. Ask for the Groove Washer by name at your local record store and accept no substitutes. Or head over to groovewasher.com and use discount code VINYLGUIDE10.
All hail the Groove Washer.
That's groovewasher.com, discount code VINYLGUIDE10.
Now we return to the program already in progress.
No limits.
Now, last time we talked, Billy, we talked about this Ride the Wild single, the original Ride the Wild from 1980, I think, Orca Records. And this is highly, highly collectible, as you probably know. I wanted to ask you if you're familiar with the Chats, an Australian band who's actually done a little bit of an homage to the Ride the
nice.
Wild.
Yeah, I'm really into the Chats. Yeah.
Yeah? Very good. The Chats, this drummer, Matt, he is amazing.
I love that band. I asked Frenzel, I go, can we get them to be on the tour with us? And Frenzel's like, you missed the boat. It's, they're too big, they're too big to do it now.
They're actually playing in the U.S. right now with Cosmic Psychos.
Oh, nice. Cosmic Psychos. I've never seen them live.
Oh, you got it. Yeah. And that's going to be a hell of a tour around the U.S. Cosmic Psychos and Chats. And I think Schizophonics is on that. So,
wait, Schizophonics. No, I don't think.
I think they're a U.S. band. I think they may be out of the East Coast.
Okay.
So talking records here, Milo Goes to College. It was on New Alliance. Talk to me about the first time you saw that cover of Milo Goes to College.
Well, it was, we used to just do it with like Pritt glue. And, it wasn't like some guy on a computer.
Right.
It was just, okay, Frank, we were trying to figure out what the album cover should be. And Frank goes, let's put that Milo thing on there. Because the Milo character, it predates the band. The Milo character is something that we friends of Milo, it might be something we would draw it on our desk in class, or maybe try to get in the class before the teacher if she's on a break and put one up on the chalkboard. It was kind of poking fun at Milo in a good spirited way. It's just saying what a dork he is, because in the late 70s, it was not cool to be called a nerd or a dork. And that thing makes him look very dorky. And so that was our friend Roger Dwerline, who invented that character. And Roger he would make these little 4-panel cartoon strip thing, just a little thing like this big. And he would call that thing The Mishaps of Milo. And it would just be Milo doing kind of like absent-minded things, like what would we say, absent-minded genius sort of thing. And so the Milo thing, it was just, you would draw it wherever kind of. And so then we just said, well, let's put it on the album cover. And so we put it on the album cover, and that was the album cover. But Roger wasn't around. And since we were thinking to call it Milo Goes to College, we had our friend Rat, just another classmate. These are all classmates, Mm-hmm. And so we had Rat draw it. And that's why if you look closely, it says Rat after RD. And that means Rat after Roger Dwerline. Because Roger was in Norway or Sweden at the time. And he lived over there for a long time. And there wasn't internet or anything. So Rat drew it because Roger wasn't actually there to draw it for us. Yeah.
Okay. And now Chris Sherry tends to draw a lot of the Descendents artwork. Is that right?
Yeah. Chris does it he does like 1 million T-shirts for us and album covers and stuff. Yeah.
It's surprising. It must be quite amusing to you to see how far that Milo character has gone. I mean, the tattoos, There's that Milo character seems to be celebrated in many different facets.
It really is. You'll find it in the weirdest places. So there's this show that's popular, TV show that's popular here in the States. I don't know if it's popular there, but it's called Reservation Dogs. Not to be confused with Reservoir Dogs, the movie. So it's called Reservation Dogs, and it's about every person that acts in, writes, directs, or works on the movie. They're all Native American, like for real. They really are. And so it's a kind of a, I'd say it's a sitcom drama sort of a thing, but it's all based on Native American stuff and them how well or not well they may be assimilating or resisting assimilation into, mainstream US culture, whatever. And I don't know, I'm not really great with the descriptive things, but so there's a shot in there, and one of the girls, it's centered around these four friends, and the four friends are like in their late teens. And one of the girls is in a room, and when you're that age, you got stuff all over your walls, right? Stuff all over your walls. And the camera zooms in on her wall, and there's a poster, like an LP cover size thing. And it says, Indigenous, Milo gets his land back. And and there's a picture of like a version of Milo appropriate for that. So the band's called Indigenous, and the title's called Milo Gets the Land Back. Yeah, so that was really cool. I was like, whoa, look at that, because it was like those are fun when it's like, I can't believe what I just saw. Oh, there's my favorite. Here's my favorite. Hopefully, I don't know if it'll translate, because you got to know something about Cholo culture or Mexican American culture.
Oh, okay. Are you going to talk about Manic Hispanic?
Yeah. So our album is Milo Goes to College, right? So if you like a contraction is like when you say cannot and then you turn it into can't.
Yep.
Okay. So in Spanish, mi hijo, which means my son. You contract it to mijo. And that album's called Mijo Goes to Junior College. But the juniors just sharpied in, like it's not even,
yeah.
That's my favorite. And the Cholo way they have Milo, oh, it's so cool.
I love Manic Hispanic, and yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That
Mijo Goes to Junior College, essay. Yeah, great.
So back in that time period, with Milo Goes to College, in the relationship with SST and New Alliance, was there ever any discussion about maybe Raymond doing any artwork for Descendents? I don't think I've ever seen a Raymond Pettibone flyer or any sort of artwork related to Descendents.
No, I don't think that was really on the table. I think that at that point, I think kind of Raymond was the only music stuff that had Raymond's stuff was Black Flag, and we certainly wouldn't want to seem like a kind of a sub Black Flag entity, or someone that's trying to pander to that visual aesthetic or whatever. We just wanted to do our own thing. But Ray did do a shirt for us like 5, 6, 10 years ago, just for one show. It was just a one show thing, limited thing. Boom, done. Yeah.
Okay. So you still stay in contact with Raymond?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we're friendly. We're not like close, but yeah, we're friendly for sure. It's weird. It's weird. I still keep up with. I'm not exaggerating. I still keep up with every single person I have ever played in a band with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not even joking you. The only one, of course, is Greg Ginn, but that's because of, the way he treated all of us, all the bad problems with the, all the money stuff and all that, the way he, all that stuff. But
you haven't dealt with Greg.
Talk about that, but so I mean, I'm saying we all talk to each other, but none of us talk to Greg.
Even Chuck Biscuits? Have you connected with Chuck?
Oh, I
What's
don't
he
know.
doing?
I feel like Biscuits really made himself scarce, and then once a year, there's always the Biscuits is dead rumors, you hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, haven't seen Chuck in years. Last time, I'll tell you when the last time, 98, 98. He was playing drums for Social D on the Warped Tour. And so we did a thing where me and him, and it was me on guitar, Milo on bass, and Biscuits on drums. And we played a couple Black Flag songs. And our buddy Chris Barrows from the Pink Lincolns sang them on the Warped Tour just for fun one day. That was the last time I hung out with Chuck.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear he's up in Canada somewhere, and he doesn't want to be found.
Yeah, yeah.
And in recent years, Spot departed. Were you in touch with Spot in his final years?
I was. I kept up a good friendship with Spot, and I probably the last time I actually spoke with him on the telephone was maybe 3 months before he died or so. Yeah, we had a nice little memorial thing for him in LA. Well, it was fun because a lot of the usual suspects came out of the woodworks, for that. A lot of the people that you might expect would be there. And it was really cool.
Yeah, because he came on our show and he talked about, gave quite a bit of information, his history. And he also mentioned that he had saved a lot of original tapes from back in the day. And in fact, I think he sent some to Meat Puppets and a few others. And I was curious as to whether any Descendents or all tapes showed up out of that lot.
I think I already have a grip on all the tapes on where they all are and stuff. I don't think Spot had any of ours.
Okay. So all the tapes exist somewhere. You know where they're at. Maybe not controlling them at this point, but they do exist somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. If it's okay with you, can we talk a little bit about Flag?
Sure.
I think because you and Keith, grew up. You knew Keith since you were, I think, single digits years old.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
That, as far as I know, that's the only project that you and he have done together. Is that right?
Yeah, because he was kind of just getting started with Panic, and then Black Flag, kind of right when I was getting started with Descendents. I mean, they precede us by maybe a year or something like that. I don't know, but so we were just kind of both doing our own things, and then we would talk about it. Because I would go into the tackle store and do the work building the fishing rods. So there's this little room back there where I would be building the fishing rods, and Keith would be using the shrink wrap machine to shrink wrap hooks and sinkers and lures and stuff like that to put out in the tackle store. Yeah, because his dad owned the tackle store. We'd sit back there, and he exposed me to an awful lot of good music back in that fume filled area, because I was using either kind of a varnish or like a resin epoxy polymer back there, and there wasn't proper ventilation. Sometimes I wonder if that's what caused my brain tumor. I'm not sure, but yeah, he turned me on to stuff that was kind of before there was punk rock. There was, it was Stooges, and there was, I don't know, there was television. There was things that he knew about that I didn't know about.
With all the musical communities and projects throughout the years, it seems like the only time that I know of the two of you played together was in Flag.
Yeah, that's correct. Right? Yep.
Beyond the videos that are on the internet, are there any recorded Flag tracks?
No, we haven't recorded anything. No.
Were there ever any plans to, any discussion of, we should go and kind of record some of this stuff? Any discussions like that?
There haven't been thus far. No.
Question for you about My War. Which do you prefer, side one or side two?
That's tough. Because Nothing Left Inside is one of my all-time favorite things that, that I've been a part of. But so is My War, and so is The Swingin' Man. And so I guess it's a fair split between those two sides, because Nothing Left Inside is like 6 minutes long, and My War and The Swingin' Man combined are probably a similar length.
Okay. All right. So you're not picking a side.
I don't know if I could sit through, Scream, Nothing Left Inside, and 3 nights. All that's a lot. I mean, that's a pretty. I get bored. I can't handle that much slow music, at a time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. My thing would be it would be My War, Swingin' Man, Nothing Left Inside. That's it. Done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the 3 albums from 1984, like My War, Slip It In, Family Man, were all those recorded kind of at around the same time and then separated into 3 albums? Or
no. So your like premise there does apply to the later ones, like Loose Nut, In My Head, Process of Weeding Out. So Loose Nut and In My Head were kind of all in the same sort of sessions, but no, Slip It In and Family Man were in of like adjacent sessions, but not My War. My War was separate. My War was, at least 6 months before Slip It In, the recording sessions, because we recorded My War, then we recorded Slip It In, and then we recorded Family Man kind of while we were in their setup. But the thing with Family Man, it was its own group of songs. Because those are all instrumentals.
Right.
And it was its own group of songs by intention, by design. And the thing about Family Man is we recorded it direct to 1/2-inch tape. So there was no mixing process. It was what you call live to 1/2-inch, And so those were 3 separate, themes or thoughts.
Okay. Yeah. And you're listed as producer on those albums, obviously for the music, but were you involved in the artwork selection or anything like that?
No, other than I was more like the errand boy. They would send me to his parents' house. Like Mugger and Greg and Chuck would tell me to go to Greg's parents' house and get stuff from Ray, which is where Ray lived, was at Greg's parents. And I would just say, hey, Chuck and Greg sent me down here, and there would be so much stuff kind of irreverently laying around, really knowing what that stuff's worth now. It's amazing how it was just kind of in these, sort of piles or whatever. And he would go, well, you could look through that pile there. And, so I would take a whole bunch of them back to SST and then say, here's what Ray gave me,
Oh, okay.
Sometimes Henry would come with me, or Greg, but I was kind of the errand boy. I was younger than them, still am.
And would you also get involved in like the creation of the flyers, the show flyers?
No, that was more Raymond and Chuck.
There's a very collectible Descendents record. Enjoy. It's a 7-inch single, a yellow promotion.
Enjoy and Windy.
Yes.
Why is it collectible?
Well, there's very few of them made. I was going to ask you that.
What a stupid thing to like. Oh, there's not very many, so I'll pay way more than it's worth. I can't get my head around that.
Mm-hmm. Do you collect anything?
No. I mean, like if I need, or I don't know, if I want some different snares, maybe a snare that's deeper and a snare that's shallower, a snare that's wood, a snare that's like such and such kind of metal or such and such. But so I may have a few different things of a thing, but I don't collect them. No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I understand that it's a very important thing to a lot of people, but for me, like I could never hand $500 to someone for a record.
Right.
That shit's not going to happen. What about when I'm old and I'm poor, when I can't play drums anymore and I'm old? I'm gonna wish I still had that $500, because I can't eat that. I can't eat that original pressing and neat or whatever the hell it is. Is that even a thing? Is that a
no?
thing?
You sound like a record collector actually. With
Yeah,
the neat.
I love the records. I love listening to them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think a lot of us we're not too worried about those final years just because, who knows if we're even going to get them or not. So the last album, Ninth and Walnut, wasn't the typical Descendents record. It used recordings and songs that were made, maybe 30 years prior, something like that. How did the Ninth and Walnut project come together?
All right. So I'll tell you what it is, and then I'll tell you how it happened. What it is Ninth of Walnut is our first batch of songs. Okay, I hate it when movies make a prequel and they said they planned it the whole time. I fucking hate that because I don't believe them. I think they're just trying to make money. But for real, I swear, those are our first songs. I mean, most of them. And so by the time we kind of got going as a band and we were recording and playing shows, we had gotten sick of all those songs and we had moved past them. And we had moved to the songs like on the Fat EP and on Milo Goes to College. Okay, so I'll give you an example of like a bleed over. Okay, Parents is one of our original songs, but Parents made it all the way to, we never quit practicing Parents, so it made it onto Milo Goes to College. Statue of Liberty was one of our very, very first songs. And so the first day we practiced, we played Like the Way I Know, Crepe Suzette, maybe Parents, the first day we ever played together, and so those songs like Grudge, Sailor's Choice, those were our very first things we ever played together. But we got sick of them and kind of left them behind. Right. So then years later, me and Tony and Frank we're together. The reason we're together is they did a little bit of playing on Everything Sucks, just a little bit. They each play it on like a song and a half or something. Okay. So Tony, one day, me and Frank and Tony are hanging out and he goes, hey, you know what we should do? Next time we see each other, we should record all of our original songs. And we're like, yeah, that would be cool, man. And then we're naming the songs. What about Baby Don't You Know? And what about You're Disgusting? And, what about It's My Hair? But then it didn't happen forever and ever, but it finally happened. And in 2002, we got together and we recorded all those original songs. We did them live, not no overdubs. But then what did we do? We just sat on them. For 20 years, we just sat on them. And then in COVID, I go, Milo, I'm going to send you this stuff, all the old stuff, the Frank and Tony stuff. Let's get the vocals done. And so some of these are so old that Milo had never sung them before. But most of them, Milo had sung them either at practice or at shows. But there's maybe like 4 songs on Ninth and Walnut that were older than Milo. We quit playing them before he joined the band. But yeah, so he dove right into it and he got the vocals done. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. Let's put this out. So we put it out during COVID, knowing that that band, that lineup, it's not possible for that band to tour because Frank is dead. So let's put it out during COVID. So we put it out and it was so fun. It was like, I can't even tell you how many memories it brought back. Me and Tony just thinking about these real insignificant little things that happened, 45 years ago or however long ago that was. Crazy.
You probably had to go through old tapes just to remember the little nuances and the words.
We really didn't.
Oh, yeah?
Each of us had like one practice tape from back in the day, but everyone just knew how they went because we played them for like a year and a half. Those were our songs. No, we knew them. There was maybe one or two little chords that somebody had to look up somehow, but not really.
All right. Well, again, Billy, thank you so much for coming on the Vinyl Guide again. We really look forward to seeing you down under the month of October, Auckland, Brisbane, Wollongong, Sydney, Adelaide, Melbourne, Torquay. I'll be putting the links to tickets and whatnot for the shows that still have tickets. A lot of them are sold out. But I'll put that in the episode page, sbnpresents.com. Again, Billy, thank you so much for coming on the show and putting up with our record nerd questions.
Well, this is great. I appreciate you making time for me, and thank you for having me. I hope I wasn't too long-winded with my answers. That seems to be my habit as I get older.
We love it. No, that's fine. We really appreciate it, mate.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Oh, man, what a genuinely wonderful dude. I love talking to Billy. He's so cool. Oh, man, I can't wait to see them again down under. And again, just to let you know, we've got an extended version of this interview available only to show patrons. Patreon.com/Vinyl Guide. Hear more about Billy talking fishing and hobbies and Black Flag and more stuff up there, more chit chat. That's Patreon.com/Vinyl Guide. And thanks in advance for your support. That's it for this episode of the Vinyl Guide. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share these episodes on your social media. Put them on your Facebook, tweet them out on Twitter, share them in the Reddit forums or the Facebook groups or TikTok dances, whatever you got to do. Get the word out there. Tell your record nerd buddies all about the Vinyl Guide podcast. Even show them how to get a podcast on their smartphone. Some of them don't know how to do it. You could be a hero in this case. Future civilizations will build statues of your likeness just for getting your friends into the Vinyl Guide podcast. So go do it now, and we'll be back shortly with a brand new episode. So until we talk next time, get out there and buy some records, people. Cheers.